Might as well start talking. Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the ever exciting Banter Blitz show. With me, I'm your host Jan Gustafsson, and I will, as usual, try to crush you all. Looks like there's some problems on the Chess24 side. I'm not 100% sure what's going on. Probably the tie break of the Gibraltar chess festival was too exciting. Spoiler, Nakamura did defeat MVL in that tiebreak, and it looked like it was too much for our side to handle. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure if I have chat. I'm not sure if anybody can hear me, or if this is just me talking to myself while playing Blitz games. But I tend to do that. I talk under the shower. I talk while asleep. Might as well talk to myself while playing Blitz games. Let's see if we have any challenges, if this site is working. It's pretty much a walk in the dark, if that's English, which it probably ain't. But it looks like I have challenges, and I will play against Mr. Bad Wolf 1403. Here you can see him. This is all a bit of a mess. It's all a mess, but let's crush Bad Wolf 1403. That maybe was his FIDE rating or his Chess24 rating. He's upgraded it to 1458, which still should not make him immune to getting crushed. But only if I can move a pawn. If I can't move a pawn, this is gonna be very hard to do. You see, I'm trying very hard here. I've pre-moved like 5 different things, but not gonna be able to do it, it looks like. Who destroyed the site? Why would you do such a thing? I'll type, that's always a well-known feature. I can't even talk. I've been sick. I don't know, I think it's Peter Svidler's fault. I was hanging out with the great Peter Svidler. We were doing commentary on the Vikings tournament, which was, I don't know, it's very challenging to do the show with him because he's so good at chess. And yeah, he's kind of quicker than me calculating, which I'm not used to. Nah, I'm used to that, but he's out of the people I'm hanging out with, or I'm doing the shows with, he's the most impressive when it comes to sheer speed of like understanding a position, evaluating. So it was fun to have him around, but also very challenging for me. And yeah, he's gonna be preparing for the candidates now. And I've refreshed and it looks like now I'm ready to play 1e4 against Bad Wolf 1403. That's a video you should probably not watch ever. The Bad Wolf. It left me traumatized for quite a while. And if you say on the show, you should never ever watch something, it tends to have the opposite effect, I've learned. People will watch it. Also looks like the chat is gone. I really miss you guys. Like, I dislike most of you strongly, but it's still good to see if anything is going on, and I don't dislike all of you. So that would be nice, but looks like not gonna be able to do it. Also looks like Bad Wolf, because of the long wait, or maybe he has the same problem I had, not able to make any moves, is not around. Let me talk to him. Looks like I can't even talk to him. This is going to be a very exciting show of me typing random stuff which you guys can't see in the chat. I'm telling him, are you there? Refresh page so we can play exciting game of chess. Not literally, but that was the bottom line. But it looks like it's not going to happen. Also looks like my tie and shirt don't really agree. There's this blue stuff below it. It's all very confusing. I don't even have a plan B. Normally I would just talk about movies for 90 minutes, but I haven't seen a lot of movies. With Svidler, I watched Ex Machina, which is interesting, sort of a modern Frankenstein. I think I've already talked about this on the show. Then I've watched a bit of this Netflix show Gotham about young Bruce Wayne and young Penguin, Oswald Cobblepot as we call him. So I've gotten a bit of TV intake, but not all that much. I'll try to play someone, but I'm not sure it's gonna happen at all. Else we're gonna have to delay it, which would be very sad, because I'm not here tomorrow or on the weekend. And then when I might come back, other things might happen. This is Mr. Clash City Rocker, but I have a feeling things aren't working properly on lovely chess 24, which really is very sad, because I was looking forward to crushing you all in spite of my extremely sick state. I'm guessing Clash City Rocker is also trying to enter a move, but failing horribly. I don't know how long I should be playing this game while disappointing all of you terribly, because you missed your one chance to crash me. Sick and tired of being sick and tired, but not gonna be able to do it if you can't execute a move. Like, he's probably sitting there trying to go e4, probably clicks the right mouse button like I do, but nothing happens. And more bad news, if I see this correctly, there's not even an abort or draw button anymore. So how are we ever gonna get out of this? I don't know. Whoever broke the site, please fix it. It wasn't me. I was just sitting here talking. Meant no harm to anybody, except for Pepe Cuenca, but he's used to it. No, I was commentating on the, what's the thing he called? The Gibraltar tiebreak with him. But I don't know what happened there. Maybe someone pressed the wrong button. Sorry, Clash City Rocker. Let's try one more. And if that doesn't work, I guess we all have to go home, which would be very sad, because nothing good is awaiting at home. There's no food in the fridge. I have to clean up. I don't think I turned on the heat. I'm sure you're very excited to hear all this. And you can kind of see me scrolling through the challenges, because this is a little screen capture there in the right corner, which is meant to display for displaying the username. Sometimes it does different things. I'll randomly accept someone else, but is it gonna work? I do not know. I have strong doubts if Van Gaal is here to make a move. Probably he isn't. I don't think anybody can really play. Oh, here we got action. This is exciting. Van Gaal goes e4, and I'm trying very hard to play c6. I'll do my refresh trick. Maybe I have to refresh after every move. That would be excellent. Here, c6, exciting move, the Caro-Can. Because if you can play the Caro-Can, then you can do everything. I don't really know the Caro-Can. I don't feel like discussing mainline theory here. I kind of know it, but I don't like it much. So I'm gonna do something goofy, go for this, whatever they call it, g6, e5, h5, system of my youth. What do they call it? Gurgenitze? Maybe Gurgenitze, that's some weird name. The plan is basically take on f3, put a pawn on h4 to impede white's development, probably put the knight on f5, go c5, undermine the center, enjoy life. The fact that the bishop is still on f8 actually favors me right here, right now, because it can support a c5 advance, while on g7 it would be doing very, very little. So this is a decent version of this stuff. If he goes long castles, which I kind of expect, don't know why, I might switch to more aggressive ideas. He goes g4, but I'm not sure. Maybe he forgot about the all-important en passant rule. Or, more likely, he wants to sacrifice on g6 and checkmate me, which I don't really think is a very kind idea to contemplate even. G6 doesn't really seem to work yet, so I'll provoke it for a move. And I hope he does it, because if your opponent has a bad idea, you should encourage it, not discourage it. That's one of the confusing parts of this prophylactic thinking thingy, which Artur Yusupov has been trying to teach me, and will try to teach all of you guys. Very soon I'll be a chicken, as I tend to be in castle queen side, to get out of the danger zone, because one day bishop takes g6 might have been a bit of a nuisance. Bishop d2, let's go here, ask him what he's up to. Probably he's not up to all that much. Van Gaal, whom I think I've played earlier, he's from Colombia. Some point I probably should go knight f5, but I don't really want to just yet. I want to keep screwing around a little bit. Useful advice, explaining deep concepts as usual. I don't think I have enough firepower here to checkmate him with knight b6, knight a4 or whatnot, but might as well try. Once he goes h4, h5, some questions will be asked on the king side, and then I probably have to react with some rook g8, knight f5 in whatever order. But it looks like he's scared of my half-baked attempts to checkmate him on the queen side. Goes queen e1 back. Yeah, I'm doing fine because the pawn structure is pretty favorable for me. He goes c4, wants to exchange queens. Not going to be able to do it. Not that the exchange of queens was bad, but I feel like keeping them on the board. He really wants to exchange things. Might have to do it now. That's sad, but okay. The endgame is not exactly bad for me, so I shouldn't complain too much. It's actually slightly better for me. I have the d5 square, the f5 square, all kinds of squares. But still, no checkmate. It's just gonna be a boring grind-out endgame. Or an exciting grind-out endgame. Is grind-out endgame an established term? I'm not that sure. He's gonna take my knight, but there's another knight that will cause him further nightmares. Here it comes. Also rook h8. Gonna be very tough to keep all these pawns defended. And by very tough, I mean not possible. We shall see. King c2, why not? Bring the king a little closer. But I've been told, and I don't think it's true at all, that the threat is stronger than its execution. So I'm not gonna take just yet, but I could have. Then again, the threat was stronger than the execution and made him panic into giving me that rook, which I appreciate because now I have more stuff than him. Significantly more stuff, which is a term us grandmasters use for material balance. We call it stuff. That's not true either. Don't believe a word I say. And Van Gaal resigns because he ran out of stuff and he couldn't move his knight all that far. So bumpy beginning because of the struggling chess24 side, but I did crush him, which is all that really matters to me. Also sad but true. Let's play someone else. Maybe a king capturer. He likes to capture kings. And of course, it's still very, very unclear if I will be able to play king capturer. Shouldn't it be king's capturer? I don't know. He goes e4. What do I do this time? I'm in a goofy mood, and as usual, I gotta refresh the page to get the game off the ground, it seems like. Not ideal. Probably it's not the most intuitive side behavior if you gotta refresh it every time to be allowed to make your first move. But I'm sure our guys will be working on it and things will be back to normal in no time. I'm playing all kinds of modern openings today. This game I'm gonna go for the hippopotamus, that's what it's called. a6 intending to go b5, and if they meet it with a4, which they should, you have the option of playing this system, which is not very good, but it's not as bad as it looks. You go bishop b7, knight d7, knight e7, h6, and then the pawn structure does not resemble a hippopotamus at all, but they still call it that. I don't know why. Bishop g5 is actually a clever little move, because if, well, I could go knight e7, there's nothing really wrong with it. I was gonna say if knight e7, he could annoy me with e5 or with queen d2, but after queen d2 I'll go h6, which is part of the plan anyway. I'm not afraid of him taking on e7, so he should probably retreat, which he does. And now I've established the hippo structure. The question is what to do next. True hippo style would probably be to go king f8, king g8, king h7, but that is a little rich for my blood, or sad. So I'll do something else, and options include pretty much every pawn push. c5, f5 or e5. Especially now that he's got knight e1. c5 looks like the most principled somehow. Not sure if it's good. Maybe e5 was also possible to play it more King's Indianish, but might as well go this. He takes, and I shall recapture with a knight. When all of a sudden I have a pretty decent Sicilian position. It's the beauty of the hippo. One misstep and you can have a good position. He goes f3. I'm feeling active. Not literally, but I feel I should play actively in this game, so I'll follow up with d5 and see what happens. Let's see what instructions I get. I'm being told there's even more prompts. People can't challenge me the way they would like to. Very sorry for all of that. Not much I'm going to be able to do about it, but I will crush whatever challenges I can find. That's pretty much my MO for now, if things continue to half work. 94. Back to the game. What tricks do we have? We have knight e3, hoping he takes, and then bishop d4. But he probably would spot that and go rook f2 when it's not clear how much I've gained. I could very greedily take on b2 after rook b1, go bishop d4 check. I don't know, feels a little greedy too. Could go queen b6, I think I'll do that. No, I don't like it either. I don't like anything, I'll just castle. If in doubt, just castle. Don't like that one either though. That probably was something good, but I couldn't spot it. And yeah, now he rightly goes c3, defense against most of my cruel intentions like bishop d4 and bishop takes b2. Now he should throw in a5 just to make me misplace my queen a little bit. Doesn't do that, but okay. Nothing much has changed. Rook a8, queen f2, and I don't know. I've missed the moment, I believe, to punish Van Kaal properly for his indiscretions. And now things aren't so clear anymore. I kind of miss queen f2, so I have to go back with my... playing terribly. Okay, time to focus. Maybe it's too late to focus. Yeah, it's a bad position. I'm losing a pawn. And I've been slow. I have some compensation because my bishops are excellent, but there was pretty pathetic play for the last couple of moves. What to do though? Gotta keep going. He's probably gonna go back to e4. Won't mind a queen exchange, even though you gotta be worried a little bit about knight e3 and stuff if you're him. So we'll see. Rook fb1, very deep. I'll go rook d8. See what happens. As I said, there's still decent compensation. I have this majority on the whatever side it is, the king side. And yeah, especially after bishop t5, rook d5. My bishops are quite powerful. Yeah, now I think I'm better again, but as I said, my last couple moves were not a stellar example of how the game of chess should be played. Rook d2, I could take on c5. Not sure if I want to, even though, yeah, why not? Two bishops should be much stronger than the queen and pawn in this position. Oof, unless I blunder things. But I'm not, even though I got a little scared about b5 here. ba5 I don't think is a big issue. Time to bring the king up, but not now. And the good old flagging skills saved the day. Very uneven game. I got a good position out of the opening, then I started playing terribly, and then I kept playing terribly. That sums it up. Let's see if we got more challengers. As I heard, it's tough to challenge me right now. Sorry about that, but I have a challenge from our friend Bogus Aurelius, whom I forgot about in an earlier show, if I remember correctly. So let's deeply apologize for not having played him earlier, even though he has a creep yet. Is that a dog? It looked creepy at first, but maybe it's just a dog. Apologies, Bogus. And yeah, refresh the page if you want to get the game going, should you be there. Else, not much advice I got. There he goes. Goes knight f6. And same old, c4. How did that take me 3.15 seconds? And this 312, I really gotta speed up. Pre-move. was close. Looks like we're gonna get a King's Indian. I always thought the King's Indian was bogus, but my score against it doesn't really reflect it, so I should probably treat it with more respect. It's a love-hate relationship, really. And I will play the good old bayonet attack. Nowadays, knight e1, a bit more popular, with very mixed results at top level. But the bayonet, ever since Kramnik started employing it, always made a lot of sense to me. You just want to go b4, c5, ASAP. And I guess, is this his line? No. I thought this was the line where Pelletier beat Nakamura with his piece sacrifice, but I don't think that is it. Anyway, I don't know theory, as usual. That's not true, I know a lot of theory, but not this one. So I'm going to have to improvise. And I'm not sure my last two moves are correct. But the position still looks vaguely familiar, at least the outlines of it. And it looks like Bogus Aurelius is still in book here, at least he's playing very fast. Fe4 and knight f5. Very decent plan, let's put a knight on d4. I'll go g3, and after knight d4, I'm going to have to do some soul searching if I think his piece sacrifice is very dangerous. Probably I'll take the piece and then think about it. Well, if he goes knight h5, which he probably has to, once again, I could contemplate moves like g4. Even though you never know, you might get checkmated for such indiscretions in the King's Indian, and yeah, g4 just feels wrong. I'm not sure if I can tell you the refutation, but I don't trust it. So I will continue with my play on whatever side of the board that one is. It's the queen side, but I have this weird brain malfunction that I can't tell apart queen side from king side while I'm talking, so it's sort of random what I say. Bishop g2 directed against knight f3 check. And yeah, we have sort of a typical position for this line where I think I'm doing quite well, but I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm doing quite well because I have some pressure on the d6 pawn, and his knight on h5 is not the happiest camper. But as always, in the King's Indian, it's another thing I can't really tell apart. King's Indian from King's Gambit. Gotta pay attention. What's going on here? Knight e4, knight e4. I'm wondering if bishop e4 I have time to throw in dc7. I think I do. Whoa, rook a5. But now I can just take. Could have gone bishop b4 as well, but rook a5. Now I can take here, and I did get some material, which I'm always very happy to cash in. Still, game ain't over yet, but we shall work towards that conclusion. Also not sure about rook c1. It kind of hurts to leave the a2 pawn unattended, but it felt good to activate something. So once again, choices. He could go bishop b4 when I have queen b2. I'm trying to figure out if I have something better than that, because it would be more tempting to employ my queen on the king side, bishop b4, queen h6, but I'm not sure it's worth a bishop e1, knight g5, and might win, but it might also lose. Well, if I just play normal, sensible moves, I believe winning is the only reasonable result, so I shall do that. Even though Bogus has deployed his pieces quite well, he doesn't have enough of them. How do I finish this off, though? Many moves come to mind. I'll go h4. I'm not sure why I keep leaving the d5 pawn on prise. On some level I quite like him to take, so my bishop gets free, but I'm not sure how brilliant an idea that is. He wants to exchange these rooks. Yeah, I don't mind that. My rook on e4 is starting to feel a little clumsy, so it's maybe time to bring it back towards c1. Don't go rook c1 here, because of queen c1, that would be a very bad thing to do. But as I said, I do have more material, which tends to be a very pleasant indicator of future results. Great English, Jan. Anyway, g6 is going to drop, and this game is more or less over. Unless something very terrible happens, like I miss one of these knight forks, knight f3 or knight e2. I don't think I do. I don't think I do. I hope I don't. We will never know. And Bogus Aurelius resigned. There was not that much to do. And yeah, I still hear this prompt challenging me, which I'm very sorry to hear. Not much I can do about it. I'll play SD Bates. Nothing to do with Bates Motel. It's different spelling and all. Let's see if SD Bates is here. He probably has to figure out the good old refreshing trick which I've had to employ to get my games off the ground. I'm not sure. I hope the tech problems are over soon. I'm not as much as a techie as you might have thought. I don't think you thought that. I don't have a clue. I can barely start a computer. But I can talk while crushing you all in Blitz. That's my key qualification for this job. He goes e4. What haven't I played yet? I haven't played c5. And I gotta refresh to get that c-pawn off the ground. Fun, fun, fun. Here we go. Knight f3. I'm in the Najdorfy mood. Haven't played the Najdorf for a while. I know basics, but it does require many different skill sets to play it correctly, which is a pity, because I don't have those. Knight f3 is one of these more positional lines. When, I don't know, in the old days I used to play h6. I'm not sure one has to do that anymore. Probably nowadays modern players just allow bishop g5, but generally you want to stop white from, you wanted to stop white from going bishop g5 and bishop c4 after a4. Therefore I'm going for this h6 and queen c7. But that's sort of old knowledge. Bishop e3. Yeah, I don't know my way around here. I'll go bishop e6 and knight bd7, which looks natural enough. h3, why not? If knight d5, it's always a question in the knight of if you want to take back with a knight, or want to take with a knight followed by bishop f5, or if you want to take with the bishop. As far as I can tell, both seem playable here. We have, yeah, pretty standardish Najdorf position. We shall see. Queen d2. I'm a bit tempted to go queen c6, which feels very primitive just to take the e4 pawn. But I will refrain from such primitivity, which is probably not a word, and instead develop my rooks. Rook e8 or rook d8 is another one of these deep mysteries of the Najdorf. Both have their pros and cons. And now after knight a4, he wants to go knight b6. I feel it's time for action. Let's go d5. Probably still knight b6, but then I might have d4. Forking. And if e d5, both knight d5 and bishop d5 look reasonably pleasant. So even though SD Bates played with an idea, I am not sure he's gonna enjoy it very much. Yeah, here I couldn't see anything. Two pieces are under attack. You can only remove one at a time. He could go for some desperate attacks like bishop takes h6, but I don't really see that working. Well, now I'm just up a decisive amount of material, which is one of my favorite places to be. Materialville. Haven't played precisely as usual, but I'm still winning. Yeah, I could have done that a little more smoothly, but I just have too much firepower. Bishop to c5, and slowly but surely my kingside attack will crash through. At least that's the plan. Let's bring some reinforcements. This knight looks very nice on f4 or even h4, and I have a soft spot for all tricks involving queen g3, pretty much any position. So I'll try to get in one of those. How do we do this? Could go queen g3, which is a bit of an empty move, but it's showy enough for me to do it. Knight f4 is a serious threat. If king f1, queen h2, king h1, I can probably take on f2. And after b4, I can go knight f4 nonetheless. So yeah, I like my position very much. Yeah, this is over. Sorry, as debates. I'm feeling like I should play more Najdorfs, but then again, I would probably suffer horribly if I had to play this in a tournament game and find my way around. This position, I'm confident I will find my way around because I can give checks. I'm very good at giving checks, like a check on h1 if he goes here, for example, or a check on g1 if he doesn't. Nah, I'll give this check. And I believe that's the last check of the game. Thanks, Mr. S. Debates. Let's see who else we have lined up. Marul? Mar0L? Marcel? Marcel with a 0? Let's see if Marcel with a 0 is here. I'll refresh just in case. Can never hurt to refresh. Maybe it did hurt to refresh. Here we are, I guess Marcel. Oh, it also has to do the refresh trick. We shall see. Maybe he's not here. What's that on his picture? Is that like lightning hitting a city? Maybe it's, I don't know, it could also be a giant ostrich. But I think it's more likely lightning. Or a giant lightning ostrich. Looks like Marcel is not around. I'm willing to wait a bit longer today than usual because of the tech problems. But can't wait forever. Can wait a bit. Being asked about my privacy settings because apparently it appears like I'm offline, which I'm really not, as you can see here. Jan, online. And I've never even looked at the privacy settings, so I don't think I've set anything to very private. But it looks like Marcel is not around. So, sorry Marcel. Let's find someone else. Let's play against Miktal if he's here. And if he can manage to execute the first move. How do I find out about my privacy settings? Let's do that live on air. Why not? My profile. Seems hard to get to my profile even. Yeah, not gonna be able to do it. Do I lose against Miktal if I go to my profile? That's me. Probably I shouldn't click around too much in here. You guys might see all my secrets stored, like my birth date. Settings. Is that me? I have no idea. Privacy. Here. Privacy. Visible to everyone. Visible to everyone. Country visible to everyone. Wow, I'm not very private. Who would have thought? Accept game challenges from everyone. Wow. Nah. That's not it. Oops, oops, oops. What's all these pictures? Very confusing. Sorry for the mess. And sorry, Miktal. As you guys probably have noticed, it's a bit of a mess. Maybe I should have delayed this show, but I'm leaving tomorrow morning. So this was the last chance to play some of you guys. And as long as I win, I always quite enjoy it. If I lose, of course, very, very different story. But who doesn't want to hunt down a minor bison? Big animal. And there we go, e4, c5. Do you pronounce it bison? Bison, probably, yeah? I believe, spoiler alert for those of you who still want to watch The Revenant, which will be very few. I believe that's what DiCaprio eats in The Revenant, right? Bison liver. He says it's disgusting, and since he's all methody an actor, he ate a real bison liver. Like, why not get a nice filet mignon? Pretend it's bison liver, I don't know. Anyway, this is one of these openings, which I think I've played before in the show already, where you chicken out, you don't go for the open Sicilian, but instead you pretend it's a Giuco piano. You go bishop c4, d3, bishop c3, bishop b3, c3, knight bd2, castles against everything, and then see what happens. Yeah, I will ignore pretty much what he does and play all these Italian or Spanish moves. At some point I could and should play d4, but I still don't want to do it. I'll keep playing passively. Bishop c2, I want to go knight f1, knight g3, and then after careful preparation I want to expand in the center. It's not the greatest of plans, and I'm not sure I'm really recommending it, but it is a lazy man's approach to the d6 Sicilian, and it's sort of playable. I don't think it's very good. Minor bison. Bison, I should really find out. In German we say bison, but I doubt that's the English pronunciation. Just trying to grab some space on the queen side, but I hope I can checkmate him before anything tangible comes out of that. I'm already very tempted to go e5. Play b4. What do I do about it? There's not really any play on that side of the board, so I could just keep developing pieces. Not sure where. This looks a little humble, but if I go to f4, then after I push e5, he's going to go knight d5, attack my bishop on f4, which I don't really want to happen. So bishop d2 attacks this pawn, provokes him to go d5, and if he doesn't, I might just take it. Why not take it? Gimme. It's a bit of a switch of plans. I was planning to checkmate him on the king side. Now, as usual, it's just pawn grabbing. But you gotta take what the defense gives you. cb a4 looks subtle, but it's really not that scary. I'll keep that side locked up so he doesn't go a3, c3, any craziness. And now I am a pawn up with a better position. I'll just improve it further. Rook d1, bishop c3, and then do something. d5, e5, whatnot. Knight f to d7. Yeah, why not? Don't want to think. I could go for some like deep moves like knight h5 or maybe even h4 is a good idea here. But I might as well just keep making natural moves, improve a little bit. And the fruit will ripen in its own accord. Not a lot of bisons around these days, are there? I should know such stuff. Are they around at all? Let me Google it for me. Bison or buffalo? That's the same thing? American bison. Bison. E5. Give me that square. It's referred to as buffalo, but it's only distantly related to the true buffalo. That's what I thought. Looks like they're still around. What's the word for not being around? Extinct? My position is kind of winning. Now there's a lot of threats, knight b5 and collecting stuff. I'll start with that. I wish I could end one game with an attack, but normally it's just grabbing. It's also not the term, but yeah. Not sure I'm gonna be eating bison liver, but I'll certainly be eating bison pawns. Time for some expansion. Knight g6, I can take or I can go e5. Both look very tempting. I'll go e5. Why not? You only live twice. Let's see what Mr. Bison... I've been embarrassed. I might keep mispronouncing that word. Not many of them around, even though, as I learned from my Wikipedia article, there is such a thing as European bisons as well. Knight f4 took a pawn, but queen g4 is asking some unpleasant questions like, what do you want to do about this bishop? Because if you move it, I might checkmate you. If you go h5, I'll just go queen g3. Fortunately, the e2 square is covered. Why am I talking about h5? I'm going to take the knight. I'm going slightly mad, as usual. Yeah, the game is sort of over. Gimme. Now, for something completely different. Where's the mate? That's the problem with my dry brand of chess. I forgot how to give checkmate. Like, even if it's a mate in 2, I probably won't see it. Bishop g6 is good enough, but maybe knight h6 was faster. We will never know. Anyway, takes queen g6 and queen g7 is sort of checkmate. And if he can't take, then something like bishop h7 should have pretty dire consequences. No reason to hurry, even though I might be missing mate in 2. Who knows? But now it's time. Check. I'm looking for showy checkmates, but that's not nice. If you have mate in 1, go for it. And here we go. Checkmated the minor bison. And let's move on to something completely different. Like looking into the camera. Hi camera. I'm normally staring like at the many screens to my right where I get all these panic messages. But yeah, I don't have many challenges because it's apparently impossible to challenge me now that the site has gone sour. But I still have some, so I'm gonna try to play whomever I get. Klopp, for example. Mr. Klopp. What are you up to? Gotta refresh so I can make a move. So what does Klopp stand for? It's probably a Dutch expression. I don't think he's a giant Jurgen Klopp fan. German football coach. Let's learn some stuff. Klopp. I feel it's probably these giant wooden shoes they wear in Holland. But I'd like to find out. Oh no, it's something to eat apparently. Klop Klop. Definition of Klop Klop by Merriam-Webster. A variant spelling of Klop Klop with C's. This word doesn't usually appear in our free dictionary. That's too bad. Still doesn't give me a definition. That's sad. Then I'm gonna have to resort to other sources. Instant Mauspuder. Klop Klop. Klop Klop na 30 jaar nog niet bedorven. De Volkskrant. Let's read some Dutch. Ja, ik accepteer cookies. Volkskrant.nl gebruikt cookies en vergelijkbare technologieën. Cookies. Onder andere om you een optimale gebruikservaring te bieden. I'll try to give Klop Klop an optimale gebruikservaring and play Queen E2, which is not such a bad move. E5 is the main line, but Queen E2 is sort of flexible. I don't think it's a terrible move. And yeah, Volkskrant. I accept cookies and whatever else you want to serve me. But I still don't know what Klop Klop is. Preiskaartje. Nah, my Dutch is not good enough. Which it should be better, because if you speak German and English, Dutch really is not the hardest language to pick up. But you don't really have to. Nah. I'm being criticized instantly in the chat that Dutch is not my territory. I thought that was excellent. G6. Let me do something very bad to Klop Klop. Bishop G5. He goes D6, and I'm not sure I've achieved all that much. But since I can never be asked twice to go for a very cheap trick like Bishop G7, E5, I'll still do it. But after D6, I don't really see a follow-up. E5, does it work? DE, knight e4, bishop g7, queen f3. Could actually work, but nah, there's some queen b4 checks, which throw a bit of a spanner into the works. H6 is also a perfectly legitimate move. G5 is a little bit of an overreaction. I don't think he had to weaken his king side just to solve the problem of that pin. Just play d6, but also nothing terribly wrong with it. What do I do now? Not sure this is the brightest idea I've ever had, but felt kind of natural. That's one thing you prepare by going queen e2. Knight d7 is a good move. I must admit I did not expect him to come up with this, because I was planning to go e5 next move, which now I won't be able to do. Which means I need a change of plans, which is very unpleasant, because I'm normally happy if I can come up with one idea, and if I'm not allowed to execute that, I have to come up with another one. It tends to overstretch my mental capacities. Knight c5, I didn't expect that one either. I thought just bishop b7, but knight c5 might very well be a good move too, tending to go to e6. But what can you do? Just keep making very random moves like e5. See what happens. Here. Je ne sais pas. I should really stick to languages. I speak a little bit. Problem with here is that after he goes d5, he's going to threaten knight d3 check or knight b3 check. Same thing about d5. But I somehow still liked it better than the other options. But no, I'm just playing badly. That's really the short version to sidestep these checks. But now my king is very exposed on the b file. If he goes queen d8, intending rook b8, for example, not sure I'm a very happy camper. a5 also a good move. Yeah, this hasn't gone according to plan. Which is not true, because I didn't really have a plan. But it hasn't gone according to my likings. Time to do something. Maybe probe a little here. I'm sorry, this is not very instructive. Whenever I play e4 openings, I lose a lot of my usual trademark instructiveness. Instructiveness, yeah, good word. And yeah, I still don't like my position. Very sad. And I still don't know what klop means. I do know what rook b8 means though. He wants to bother me with rook b4 or rook takes b2 even in some lines. And I might have to do something about it. I'll question this knight. This, for starters, let's expose this knight to extreme interrogation. Goes away, which means I have to go f4, and my hope was that now this excursion along the newly opened diagonal could be beneficial, even though I'm still a little worried that I might get checkmated within the next couple moves. But you can't have everything. He's probably going to go rook fb8, I will probably go b3, then he's probably going to go a4, and then I will probably think. Another problem is he could just take on f4, but I have a feeling he wants more than that. Even though now rook takes f4 really gains in strength. And I should probably start to worry a bit. I like to pretend I am worried about nothing, but I'm always very worried about many things. Being checkmated very high on that list. But you know what? Show me the money. My pawn grabbing instincts are much more developed than my must defend my own king instincts. It's probably gonna go d4, but then I have knight d5, so ain't that worried about that. Well, yeah, probably it's still a good idea to take on f4. This looks a little overzealous, if you ask me. It's a dangerous thing, zeal. Not sure if it's a word, but I'm sure it's a dangerous thing. Can't just checkmate me like that. As usual, he gives me a pawn, I shall take the pawn. Trying to calculate, but I don't think there is that much to calculate. I am a rook up, which is good. And I will take whatever else is thrown at me, like this horsey. Klop was flirting with the masterpiece there, but he's running out of pieces to execute his vision. Yeah, this is more leftovers of the once proud attack. He's pre-moving. Now he switched to let's flag Jan mode. Not gonna be able to do it, Kloppy. And yeah, he resigns. Was running out of pieces there. Still very good game by Klop. Put a lot of pressure on me, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was winning at more than 1 point in that game, actually. Let's see if we still have challenges. Very sorry about all the tech problems that make it impossible to chat, to challenge me, to do anything really. Who do I play? Let's play Mr. Q3DM17. If he's here. Looks like he has a profile pic of himself or someone else walking on the beach. Doesn't look like a beach in a holiday destination. I think that's more of a German beach where it's still cold and windy. Something like St. Peter-Ording, Sylt, one of those places. But I could, of course, be wrong. And I could also be unable to start this game. Here we go. E4. That crazy move, occupying space in the center, freeing the way for our bishop and our queen. Which, yeah, has many problems, like e4, e5. But is still not a bad move. Last game I was not very successful with the Scotch, so I shall play the Ruy Lopez. It's not pronounced like that. Ruy Lopez. In this game, let's see what Q3 DM 117 has up his sleeve. He goes bishop e7, I'll play d3, rook e1, the other main move. d3 is one of the moves that has bothered me greatly over the years. Peter Svidler did a video series on it. And yeah, it's not dumb. White stops all these evil martial lines and wants to play a more positional game. Now after d6, knight a5 is a threat, so you gotta go a3 or a4. And yeah, huge body of theory here. Can't say I'm a big specialist, but I can still make random moves. I believe knight d5 is normal. And now, black is at a crossroads. You don't want to take typically, because then bishop takes. Would be unpleasant. Bishop b7 looks natural, even though this bishop sometimes has more work on this other diagonal by going to e6. I'm out of book, but I quite like my position. He can't take on d5, or I thought he couldn't. He does so anyway. I thought he should not do that because this knight might be dangerously short of squares. So now he has to start a desperation mission like e4, but I don't think that's going to help because e4 I will go knight to e1. Bishop f6, rook b1, and the knight still doesn't have any squares. So yeah, knight d5 might have been a little naive there, which, by the way, is Evian spelled backwards. So if you like to drink Evian water, think about that. Yeah, I think he's just losing a piece. Not much to do about it. I'm being informed clop clop is the sound of knocking at a door, which is sort of an unspectacular solution to that mystery. Bit like the end of Hateful Eight. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I was a bit disappointed. And Q3 DM17 sees this knight does not have a way out and resigns. Sorry, Mr. Q3 DM. I will play against the great damned red spot from the United States of the Americanas. I believe that is the correct term to describe it. Let's see if he's there. Goes 1e6. Very sneaky move. And I've switched back to my more normal territory. The boring knight of 3, c4, d4 openings. And now I don't really consider them to be boring. It's just image building on my part. The boringer they think you are, the more boring you can be. Does that make sense? Maybe not. Bishop b4 check. What's that about? Not sure. How bad can it be, though? I'm wondering if he wants to take on c4, if that's part of his master plan. But I don't think he can or should. Probably just wants to develop his pieces, knight f6, castles, b6, and so on and so forth, with a pretty normal position. Can't really claim anything substantial here. We'll find out. I don't think dc4 is a good idea. I think black should go b6 here. And the great damn red spot is in the tank. Or maybe there's connection problems. I do not know. But I would guess he's in the tank. I'm trying to figure out what to do next. b6 intending bishop a6 looks natural to my mind. You can also play a move like knight bd7 and then after castles. Do whatever. There he goes. Well, yeah, I would have probably started with b6. Maybe he wanted to stop me from going knight e5. Yeah, pretty standard position. There's the inclusion of a5 and bishop d2 is a bit unusual. And I hope it favors me if he goes for this early c5. Now it's time to question this bishop. And yeah, this version I quite like. Because I think he has to take on c3. Probably recapture with the bishop, even though you could make a case for bc. But recapture with the bishop, and then in many of these positions a5 is not really gonna fit into his position. How often can I say position in one sentence? All that well, positionally. So I guess I'm a little better, even though, as usual, nothing has happened. b6. And the game is just beginning. We've only just begun. The red spot has different plans. Takes here first. But I have my doubts about the validity of this approach. Once again, the usual disclaimers. Nothing too dramatic is happening at all. But I have a feeling I'm a little better. Two bishops. Even though I have to admit that I missed bishop a6, which is kind of sad. Still have a feeling I'm a little better, but I should not have missed that. I have to give up one of my proud two bishops. Good news is my remaining bishop is still pretty much king of the castle, and I am a little better here, but I should not have missed bishop a6. I thought it was impossible. I don't want to take on f6. That would bring the game very close to equality, but if I manage to ask some questions here, could still have something. Rook d6, I'm going to have to consider bishop f6 then when he has to take. I'm not sure if it's enough. It has to be considered. Another option would be knight e5, which also has to be considered. So many things that have to be considered. Knight e5, rook d8, knight c4. Also looks sort of interesting. Does that work? Let me calculate. Seems to work. Yeah, I don't know. I might regret this decision. Bishop f6 takes, followed by rook d6 was serious pressure. And yeah, knight e5 might have been a little naive, which is, I'm not sure if anybody ever told you this, Evian spelled backwards. If he goes b5, I'll go rook c1. Still occupy some things, but I'm a little worried that I missed something after rook d8, but maybe I haven't. Still an unpleasant position for black. Rook d8, there's knight c6. Yeah, you gotta be careful. But once again, nothing too bad has happened. Still, his pieces are little misplaced, maybe. Little Miss Sunshine. Knight d5 looks like the natural move. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do then. Knight c6 is an option. It's also an option to just play a move like king f1, intending to go e4. Or e4 directly is certainly also an option. So many options, so little time. h5, don't know what that's about. I can't say I mind it. Does he want to go knight g4? What does he want to do? I don't know. Not sure if I should go f3. Why not? Not sure I should have, because it slightly weakens the e3 pawn, which maybe was not necessary. But gotta make a move sometimes, and I want to stop knight g4 and knight e4. Still, I have a slightly uneasy feeling about that f3 move. I have a good feeling about the clock situation, which compensates for a lot. But f3, you never know. Now he goes knight d5. I already forgot all the best laid plans of mice and men. Not making any sense. But I'll go here. just to stop rook d8. And yeah, if he goes there, I am in time to bother him. I like to bother. Shouldn't blunder knight e2 check, but now it's awkward because you can't play rook c8 because of that fork, and therefore the knight has to go all the way back to g6, where it's kind of dominated by my knight, and it's not a pleasant situation. I'll exchange one pair of rooks. He's going to take a rook c8, then I'll put the other rook on d6 and keep chipping away at the black position. Might not look much, but it's very unpleasant. At least that's what I was hoping. Go away. Keep going away. And the great damn red spot lost on time, but in my defense, or in his defense, someone's defense, his position was already very unpleasant. Yeah, I'm happy with that game. I probably played terribly, but it felt like a nice little positional grind. So not complaining too much. Let's play Mr. Luke. Probably not Luke Skywalker, but just Luke. Refresh Luke. If you want to be able to make a move, we all gotta refresh. I gotta refresh my batteries. I'm a little groggy after this Vike tournament. It was great fun, but it was also very challenging and a lot of hours. So I need to slightly refresh. I'll be gone for the weekend, but I'll be back after the weekend, surprisingly, to do the Bundesliga show, to do Zurich, to do more Banter Blitz, have some video series coming out. Oh, and there's my friend. Nah, I can't share his name. Someone's talking to me. Making it sound like it's a big shot. It's not. E4 by Luke. What have I been playing? I've been playing all kinds of nonsense, right? Let's play Sicilian, but a different line than last time. Oh, he goes c3. Visciana didn't get very far. Oops, and that was a very dangerous pre-move. Had he gone d3. Whew, very close. Visciana had this in a game against, who was it, Esserman in Gibraltar. Not a great tournament for Vichy. It was kind of painful to watch, even though he lost his last two games and limited the damage to some extent. But yeah, he had a game there in the c3 d4 line and got into some trouble. This g3 stuff I've never really looked at. I'll play it simple, just go d6. See what happens. I'm guessing there is smarter ways to react to it, but how bad can this be? Also not sure about knight f6, but you know what? I'm just making moves. Probably not good moves, but moves. Mr. Luke from Germany must have been happy that he finally got an acting job again after 30 years of doing voiceover work. Oh, probably people will get really upset should I start spoiling Star Wars. c4 is sort of a typical idea in these positions, but with queens on the board, I'm not sure how much I mind it. And having said all that, I will probably exchange queens instantly. Which strategically is not a great idea because he has this queenside majority which could become a factor in an endgame, but I had the feeling he's a little passive and I might use that to my advantage by targeting f2 ASAP. Who knows? I'm thinking about stuff like rook f1, knight b4, tending to go knight c2, maybe knight d3. Keeping Luke busy before he's fully developed. Before his pieces are fully developed. I don't know how old he is. He might be a grown man. Knight c3, knight d3, knight e4 is slightly concerning. But how concerning can it be? Don't want to give up that bishop, and here I want to go here. If hg, fe, there's going to be trouble on f2. I'm not sure what he can do, but this was the extent of my calculation. Ooh, I'm tired. Need food, sleep, all the good stuff. Really no reason to be tired. My hair day is a total mess. Good thing the chat doesn't work today. Nah, it's a bad thing. I'm not happy about it. I think Luke missed f5. He's punch drunk. Yeah, I couldn't see anything better than hg, fe either. Now I was hoping that bad things would happen to him on f2. Knight g5, then either knight f2 or bishop f2. Not sure what's the more precise way to do it. Probably bishop takes, knight g5, e3. It's pretty good. No, knight f2 looks pretty good as well. Choices. Yeah, I'll go knight f2. Knight e1 kind of gives me an extra pleasant choice. Anything wins, but this might be the simplest because of rook e1, bishop f2. I pick up the house. Well, if not rook e1, I picked up a piece. Bishop e4 might be the best fighting chance, but it's not a great chance either. Even though, with hindsight, maybe I shouldn't have allowed this and should just have played. Knight e1, whatever takes f2, but still. Shouldn't complain too much about being a clear piece up. A little bit though. Gotta get in a little complaining. But not too much. Anything wins. Choices. Knight e3, exchanging that bishop might have been a little more circumspect, but I saw no particular reason to worry about this position either. No threats. Let's wait for bishop g5 so he has half a threat and then shatter his hopes by parrying it. Thing is, if you have more pieces, you can normally attack more stuff than your opponent can defend. It's one of the big advantages of having more pieces. And then you can eat his things. And Luke resigns because I was eating too much of his stuff. What time is it? I think I'm running out of challenges anyway because of the malfunction. So I believe this is going to be our last game if Cesaris is around. Let's see if Cesaris, I gotta refresh. Go refreshing. Let's see if he's here. Mr. Cesaris. Ah, he's German? I thought he was Spanish. No, he's German. All right. We only gotta wait a couple hours until this board has refreshed. And I'll keep playing e4. I'll play mainstream theory this game. Whatever you do, Cesaris, I'll play the most critical line I can think of. If you're there, which I do not know. We will never know what I do to get by. I wish I was a chat. I need some movie recommendations. I really don't know what to watch. I've watched most of the Netflix stuff I was interested in. I checked the cinemas earlier. There's absolutely nothing happening there. So life be tough. And I promised I would play mainline of mainline, which in this case is this. The Spanish short castles. If bishop e7, rook e1 is still a little more mainliney than d3, which I've played earlier in this show. Should go b5, bishop b3. Let's see if Cesaris is a student and goes for the marshal. Looks like he is. Of course, I cannot spoil his fun. I promised to play the most critical line there is, so I will enter the marshal, even though you could argue that a4, b4, h3 are more critical moves than c3 nowadays. but I promised to go for the main line of the main lines, and nowadays that is d3, not d4. I've explained the difference in many a video. Check them out either on the show page on our YouTube channel, wherever queen h4, not supposed to be great here. It's the main line with the pawn on d4, but with the pawn on d3, here we go rook e4, threatening rook h4. The difference is that after g5, I go bishop takes g5, which with the pawn on d4 would run into queen f5, but not with the pawn on d3 because this rook is defended. So back to the drawing board, Chesseres. Bishop f5 is where the big theory discussions are at. Check out, for example, Svidler's game against Ivanchuk, recent Wei Yi against Magnus Carlsen game, and many, many others. Chesseres is out of book. He's looking it up. Bishop d7. Actually, I'm out of book too, but what to do? I'll go here. Yeah, the problem is with this queen being chased away, there's not that much initiative for the pawn. And white can hopefully slowly unwind. Unwind? Not sure about knight d2. I'm not sure I should have allowed g5 and all that. But I did. Bishop e7 looks normal, then bishop g5, and I'm still not sure what's going on. I might have misplayed it actually, and he might have pretty decent martial counterplay now. Martial Brave Star. Goes bishop e7. This was the plan. And f6 or f5, and I honestly have no clue who's better and why. Queen g6 also very decent move. Little slow maybe, but very decent. Let's get rid of the queens. I'm scared of queens. Kings and queens, but mainly queens. My rook might be a little offside, but I still have my extra pawn, which gives me some leeway to, even if I were so inclined, sacrifice the exchange in one line or another. I'm not so inclined though. Yeah, this is a martial gone wrong. White has a pawn and the compensation. Could grab more pawns, but I think I'll try to get some pieces out instead. This is just one check. King g7 is a good move. It's time to get rid of this knight before it makes a move. Chesseres is actually doing a good job looking for some counterplay, but I do not think there is enough of it. I'll grab his bishop and he resigns. I believe that is it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Many apologies for all the techie problems. I do hope this side will be back to normal very, very shortly, and we can go back to our usual, pretty much the same thing we did this show. But yeah, I hope this side is going to be fine. I'll be back with the Bundesliga show on Monday, the Zurich Chess Challenge. If things are back to normal, I'm sure we'll get in more Banter Blitzes next week. Go premium if you haven't already, because it's worth it. You can learn how to play the Najdorf. No, probably not the Najdorf. There's this video series on the Najdorf by Sopico actually, but I meant the Marshall, so things like what just happened to Chesseres don't happen to you. You can play me and bigger fish like Peter Svidler in Banter Blitz. Site is a lot better. The engine, for example, works faster. There's this new analysis section, and so on and so forth. Probably a bad day to plug the site since it's kind of broken, but it will be back. And I appreciate you guys watching the show. Thank you. Bye-bye. Enjoy your burrito. I should stop saying that. It's not my catchphrase.